The Wellspring of Jesse, from the underground route to the Pele escape hatch and the eternal fire of the New Jerusalem. Primary texts: Isaiah chapter 11 verses 1 to 2, Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 6, Exodus chapter 15 verse 11, John chapter 13 verses 34 to 35, Revelation chapter 21 verses 19 to 20. Introduction. The cut-down tree and the hidden code. The institutional religious system of man always measures itself by height, volume, and analytical statistics. But when human masonry attempts to build a tower to calculate its own righteousness, the architect inevitably lays the axe to the root. In Isaiah chapter 11, the mighty Davidic monarchy and the institutional tree of Jerusalem look entirely chopped down, reduced to a dry, lifeless stump in the dirt. But beneath the surface of that ruined stump lies an unquantized, underground life force. Scripture reveals a multi-dimensional remnant code preserved in 3 Hebrew roots that standard translations squash into a single word: Nazarene. Netzer, the hidden, uncorrupted branch or fresh shoot rising out of dry ground when the institutional trunk is dead. Nazir, the set-apart consecration, the vow of Numbers 6, the legal open door allowing an individual outside the formal hierarchy to step into absolute holy devotion. Notzarim, the guardians or watchmen on the hills, Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 6, who protect the pristine baseline of covenant truth when the leaders compromise. Christ did not come to patch up a failing human institution or negotiate with the human foreman, the internal analytical engine that tracks self-performance and sews together fig leaf righteousness. He came as the Netzer, the living wellspring rising out of the stump of Jesse to awaken the Notzarim, the guardians, back into true alignment. Point 1. The UNHEWN sanctuary and the Pele, Pala, maneuver. When the institutional structure in Jerusalem turned the house of prayer into a monetized tracking matrix, the true spiritual asset, Notzarim, was called to cross the Jordan into the wilderness. This brings us to one of the most profound forensic connections in scriptural geography: the flight to Pella. Right before the Roman legions destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, the early Jewish Christian Notzarim remembered the warning of Christ and fled across the Jordan River to a city in the Transjordan called Pella. This was not a coincidence. It was a divine linguistic signpost pointing directly to the Hebrew root Pele, Pala. What is Pele? In Scripture, Pele, who is like you, doing wonders, Pele. X 1511, is not just a poetic word for a magic trick. Pala is a divine legal maneuver, an act so far beyond human comprehension and left-brain calculation that it breaks the legal deadlock of a broken system and opens an impossible escape hatch of grace. When the heavy, brick-and-mortar temple in Jerusalem was undergoing total structural collapse under divine judgment, God did not leave his remnant trapped inside the falling debris. He executed a Pala move. He pulled the Notzarim out of the institutional noise and brought them to Pella, the physical embodiment of the Pele sanctuary. In the wilderness of Pella, stripped of the heavy golden ornamentation and institutional titles, they stood wrapped in the simple, unadorned white linen ketonet, the pristine firewall of mercy first engineered in Eden to cover human exposure. Point 2. From temporary linen to indestructible gems. The wilderness sects and the early Notzarim at Pella kept the white linen clean as a defensive shield against worldly static. Underneath the high priest's ephod, the pure white ketonet was what kept the priest from dropping dead in the presence of absolute holiness. On his chest rested 12 distinct, precious gemstones representing the tribes of Israel. Human religion tells you that you must build your own garment out of performance, merits, and self-made tracking. But the Levitical blueprint reveals that human effort can never survive the holy fire. You must be clothed in an architectural prophecy, and grace does not leave you hiding in a defensive wilderness retreat forever. God takes the fluid, fragile human experience, the blood-stained coat of Joseph in the pit, the shifting stones on Aaron's chest in the dust, and subjects them to the cosmic pressure of the cross. He doesn't discard your unique color or personality, he refines and hardens it. Point 3. The climax. The New Jerusalem and the eternal fire. In the isolation of the Transjordan wilderness, the set-apart remnant, Notzarim, did everything they could to shelter a small, fragile flame. Living in caves, clothed in plain white linen, and surrounded by imperial darkness, They faithfully guarded that quiet ember of covenant truth so it wouldn't be snuffed out by religious corruption. But grace does not leave you cupping a tiny flame in a desert cave forever. When John is caught up into the Spirit in Revelation chapter 21 to view the final execution of the cosmic blueprint, he doesn't see a fragile tent in the wilderness or a flickering campfire in the dark. He sees the New Jerusalem descending out of heaven, not as a defensive sanctuary hiding from the world, but as a colossal, indestructible city radiating with the eternal fire of God. Those exact 12 gemstones that once rested on the shifting, mortal chest of the high priest, and were guarded as mere embers by the wilderness remnant, have now been subjected to the high voltage pressure and infinite heat of the cross. They are no longer soft, fragile minerals. They are crystallized, translucent, and frozen into the unshakable foundation walls of eternity. Jasper, sapphire, chalcedony, emerald, etc. The small flame kept alive by the wilderness remnant in Pella has erupted into an unquenchable, eternal blaze that consumes every wood, hay, and stubble structure of human performance. The multicolored covenant that was once torn and stained with blood in the pit of human betrayal is now the glowing, fire-infused floor of heaven itself. What locks this entire fiery architecture together so that no human foreman can ever hold a lease again? It is what I call the capstone command. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you. John chapter 13 verse 34. When the frequency of love drops onto the 48 unyielding stone foundation pillars, the small wilderness flame is engulfed by the eternal fire of Jerusalem. The mathematical grid locks into a echad, absolute, uncompromised oneness with God. The netzer, branch, that sprang from the dry stump of Jesse becomes the chief capstone. The tracking power of human guilt is consumed in the blaze. The noise of self-performance ceases forever, and the entire universe is sealed in the architecture of silence. Altar call and summary drive. Stop trying to glue dead, artificial leaves onto the chopped-down stump of religious self-performance. The architect is calling you to step out of the analytical tracking room and enter the Pele Pala zone, his sovereign, unquantized legal maneuver of grace. Lay down the fig leaves of performance. Put on the white linen ketonet of Christ's righteousness. Step into your assignment as the Notzarim, the guardians of the way, and let that small wilderness flame be consumed in the eternal fire of the New Jerusalem.